The third race of the 2010 ARLA Elite Series season took place at the decrepit Hattiesburg Speedway in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which is the hometown of our tire supplier, Rubber Dub Dub. All week long, we've had severe tire wear issues due to the horrible condition of the track surface. In the qualifying race, we had cars pitting after 11 to 12 laps to change tires, and keep in mind, this track is only just a little over a mile long. It didn't take the drivers long to take sides on the issue. Jeb Klinger, who won the qualifying race, basically told everybody to just suck it up and adapt. And then there were drivers like Todd Stater, who said that this race would become a demolition derby if it went on as planned. However, the officials basically took Klinger's side and ran the race as planned. In response, Rubber Dub Dub gave all the teams free tires for this race. And now, here's Scott with the review. Thank you, Earl. Jeb Klinger, who, as mentioned, won the qualifying race, also won the pole with his M&J teammate, Kevin Monroe, in the 63, right on his outside. There goes Ricky Navarro, making it 3 wide on Dale Underwood and Kevin Monroe to take second. Klinger led for, I believe, the first 7 laps. Then Ricky Navarro gets a run on him coming down the front stretch, and he gets a huge burst of speed coming off of turn 2 to take the lead. The first caution flew on lap 10. Rachel Gonzalez washes up the track going 3 wide with Namimura, and Luis Telez takes all 3 cars into the wall. Scott Morales goes around, and Sean Donnelly, Des Inman, and Ricky Gonzalez spin in as well. You see Will Shank up in the wall. Des Inman turns around to Sean Donnelly coming off of turn 2. Inman and Gonzalez are making their first ARLA Elite Series starts, and so far their introduction has been kind of rude. Ricky Navarro led on the restart. The entire field came down pit road during that caution. Caution 2 flew in lap 17, and it was car number 17 that triggered it. Joseph Howard gets up into the wall coming into turn 3. Howard slides along the wall, then in what appears to be either a mechanical problem or a brain fade, he swerves into the 71 of Packer Carroll. Carroll bounces off the wall and is going to trigger a massive pileup on the front straightaway. Carroll collects the Kurt Walker cars, and then everybody just starts piling in. You're going to see Wesley Savage and Ricky Gonzalez go up and onto their roofs as the field piles in. Here's Wesley Savage in 6th making his first start. Joey Harrison runs into the back of him, and because of the accordion effect, the 6th car gets flipped over. This wreck really shouldn't have happened. It appeared that nobody decided to use the apron to get out of the way. The entire field would come down pit road again. Ricky Navarro was the leader, but it was Bobby Porto that beat everyone off the pit road and led on the restart with Cody Richards in the 53 right behind him. Richards, who is going part-time this season, took 2nd in the qualifying race. James West, who is making his first start of the season, restarted 3rd, but Andy Pearson is trying to take that spot from him at the moment. Here is DJ Daniels, last year's runner-up in the driver points, making his first start of the season in the Ken Grove 78. He failed to qualify for the first 2 races, but that doesn't seem to be hurting his morale, as he is up in the top 10 right now. Back up front, here is Andy Pearson taking the lead away from Bobby Porto. Interestingly enough, Pearson was one of the drivers who criticized ARLA for running at this track, but now that he's leading the race, maybe he'll change his mind. For the 2nd week in a row, Ricky Flush is going to have his engine blow up on him. This is a huge blow to Flush and that 31 team. They had a very mediocre performance at Daytona, and now they've blown up 2 engines in a row. After this race, the top 27 in owner points will be locked in, and it doesn't look like Flush is going to be up there. Andy Pearson has opened up a very nice lead over DJ Daniels. Here comes a very fast Will Shank. Shank is a couple laps down and is pitting off cycle with the leaders, who are coming up on their green flag pit stops, which is why they're running so much slower than the 127. DJ Daniels, Brenda Riggs, Bobby Porto, and Joseph Howard would kick off green flag pit stops. Andy Pearson, Todd Stater, and Cody Richards would follow suit on the next lap. The 3rd caution flew on lap 36. Amy Harrison, while coming out of the pits, is going to get together with Reed Weber Jr. taking those cars up into the wall. Bigsby Foot, while reacting to this wreck, gets together with Packer Carroll and takes both those cars up into the wall. And then Sarah Haxon swerves up into Lucas Hunter, takes those cars up into the wall. Haxon then slides down and is going to get hit by Taylor Berlin in the 65. Sean Donnelly in the 08 gets a piece of that. Brillin and Haxon would both go out of the race. The leaders had all finished their pit stops when this caution flew, but they all decided to come down pit road again. Hey, they're getting tires for free this week, so why not? Andy Pearson came out of the pits first and led the field to the restart with DJ Daniels in second and Allie Riggs in third. About 10 laps after the restart, Leigh Gurrell, Brenda Riggs, and Shane Lake would kick off green flag pit stops, among others. Andy Pearson and DJ Daniels would dive in 1 lap later. For these two, it would probably be best if they were the first cars on pit road. In the qualifier, the advantage always went to the cars who pitted first because the cars that pitted later were running around on older tires. And Leigh Gurrell is about to prove that as he takes the lead from Andy Pearson. Gurrell finally finds himself running up front after having a very quiet performance all day. Wait, did I say Gurrell proved he had an advantage? Well, Andy Pearson's going to defy that as he reels in the 46 and takes the lead back. The fourth caution flew in lap 61. The lapped car of Des Inman gets slammed into by Sean Donnelly. If 149 goes up into the wall, taking Jafali Anamiha and Bigsby Foot with him. Donnelly would be called to the hauler for this incident. Watch what happens during the race-off of pit road under this caution. That is Jeb Klinger in the first pit stall. Here comes Andy Pearson. And it will appear that Klinger beats Pearson off of pit road. However, it is Pearson who leads to the restart. Klinger and the 66 team was very upset with this call, and ARLA officials promised to investigate. In the meantime, Bigsby Foot, who was a lap down, restarted in front of the two and held him up on the restart, allowing Leigh Gurrell and Shane Lake to blow by him. Here is Foot holding up DJ Daniels and allowing the field to freight train him after a great performance from that 78 car. ARLA officials called Foot to the hauler for failure to meet minimum speed. The final caution of the day would fly in lap 68. Todd Stater gets into Reed Weber Jr., taking Joseph Howard into the wall with them. That was a pretty hard hit for the 17, but he didn't suffer that much damage. The field would come down pit road once again, and watch what happens as Jeb Klinger is trying to get into line. He spins his teammate Brenda Riggs in the 67. I don't know why he would do that. I would hope it's because of a mechanical problem, and Brenda Riggs, while seemingly trying to collect her thoughts, runs up into the 76 of Scott Morales and gets turned around once again. Further up the track, Klinger is up to more shenanigans as he spins the 69 of James West, this time taking himself along for the ride. Klinger would immediately be called to the hauler to try to explain what just happened here. Kevin Monroe would lead on the restart with Andy Pearson right behind him, Leigh Gurrell in third, and Shane Lake running in fourth, doing a fantastic job in his first start of the year. Here comes the 46 car a few laps later to take the lead from the 63, but watch the move Andy Pearson puts on him. He gets a huge run coming through turn 2 and takes the lead for himself. Bigsby Foot is going to get in the way once again. This time he is going to hold up the Riggs Motorsports cars of Harry Inola and Allie Riggs. DJ Daniels has fought his way back up into the top 10 after being held up by Foot a while ago, and he's not going to let the same thing happen to him this time. Ricky Navarro kicked off green flag pit stops, but he had some problems and had to be held in his pit for a few laps. Tough break for Navarro. He was very strong in the early stages of the race, then kind of fell off. Leigh Gurrell and Jeb Klinger would follow suit a couple laps later, and then Andy Pearson, still leading the race, would come in a lap after that. Leigh Gurrell tried to use his early stop to take the lead from Andy Pearson, but Pearson just held him off as he came out of the pits. However, a few laps later, Gurrell did get a run on Pearson coming into turn 3 and took the lead away from the 2 car. However, Pearson continued to prove that he had one of the strongest cars of the day and had no trouble taking the lead back from the 46. That is Wesley Savage in the 6, continuing to compete after flipping his car over on lap 17, though he is a few laps down. Here is Jeb Klinger coming into the picture once again, running in the 3rd spot. In the qualifying race, Klinger showed that he was the best at adapting to the really fast tire wear by taking the lead from Cody Richards on the final lap. If he can do the same thing today, he would be the oldest winner in ARLA history at 75. Around lap 92, Leigh Gurrell would dive into the pits for his final stop of the day. Andy Pearson would once again come in on the following lap, this strategy appearing to be working very well for him. And when Pearson comes out, Leigh Gurrell and Cody Richards just barely get him going into turn 3. With 10 laps to go, it appears that these three cars will be the ones duking it out for the win. However, Pearson is able to reel them back in and reassume the lead. And then Pearson would just start driving away from everybody like Bobby Porteau did in Iowa last week. In the final 2 laps, Kevin Monroe in the 63 gets a huge burst of speed. He quickly dispatches Cody Richards and Leigh Gurrell to take second, but he could not catch Andy Pearson, and Pearson cruises on to his 59th career victory, picking up where he left off last year.